я не помню, где я чё. А, вспомнил. Мгм. Ага. Так, что мне показывает инвентарь? Следуйте проклятую торговую зону. Искомерение. Все еще нужно найти свой пистолет. А, я вспомнил, на чем мне это.
This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker. The whole thing resembles Cadran mosaic tiles. Very percent.
Да, это я уже все пощупал. Я помню, это ударил ногой домну, и у меня чувак умер от кровотечения. По-моему, на этом у меня в прошлый раз закончился.
You see, the bear looks odd. The lieutenant doesn't answer. A gust of freeze. The lieutenant takes a...
Of course. Let's take a look inside.
The shelves are empty. You pocket the note.
You've acquired an interactable...
A friendly cartoon. The paper still smells.
Good question. I know. What is even what?
The fridge, but... The note is written with a blue pencil.
Does it say?
This is someone has... You'll find the filament memory.
Looks like someone from that radio game company upstairs. That's a plausible hypothesis. It belongs inside a radio computer. Store some local miscreant. I don't know.
Так, все. На этом в прошлый раз я закончил. В принципе, можно тогда сохраниться. И больше не пинать домну. Че, подойду. Тык, 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 тык.
A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black.
Looks like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney. No one has used it in ages. No.
It's dark and grimy here. In the dark, the echo is so...
What are you doing? Wait, really? We should investigate, see if someone's upstairs.
Какой сил. Ну, кстати, 42%. Сейчас мы делаем вот так, делаем вот так и пробуем.
You muster all your strength and yell.
Ну, 42%, ну, то есть, по
A
идее,
thick
вот
layer
сейчас уже
of
должно
coal
получиться.
dust covers something,
Мгм.
breaks loose in you. A mighty bellow echoes throughout the chimney's depths. The chatter of tiny voices above suddenly cease. Then,
Hello? Hello? Did you say anything? I can't hear you. Please come upstairs. There's a safety curtain on the second floor. I'll open it.
you hear a low rumble upstairs, the sound of a curtain being pulled aside.
After you, officer.
Ну, очень громко сказано. Офицер, у меня ни удостоверения, ни оружия нет. Поэтому, как бы, я пока просто мужичок, который что-то пытается расследовать. И фонарь, странная тень. Здесь есть дверь. Кто-то припрятал сломанное оружие. Но при этом я никак не могу с этим взаимодействовать. Окей.
This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner on top and an electric freezer that appears to be frozen shut. Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying, like stirring your childhood dreams. In the distance, you hear water dripping. You slip your fingers under the frozen lid, but the ice is too cold for you to get a good grip. A pry bar would come in handy here.
Оно у меня
No.
есть.
This is going to need something else. Some kind of super pry bar.
Окей.
Don't even try to open it with a regular pry bar. You're just wasting your time. If you want to try again, then you need to have the pry bar in your hand, detective.
Equip the pry bar by going to the tools tab in your...
Спасибо, я понял. Ну, так а про супермонтировку он что сказал?
This orange machine is buzzing like an old
Грубая сила,
submarine.
рискованный.
It
Низкие
has
шансы,
a
недостаточно.
hand-cranked ice cream churner on top.
Недостаточно монтировка. Тогда убери ее в кармашек.
Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads to the ice bear fridge, and the black one to the ice cream maker nearby.
Денежка.
A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in.
Seems like an old bunker from the revolutionary period. Look at all those rifles. Must be an old weapons cache. There is, yes. And there also appears to be something inside the hole. Interesting. Do you want to take a look?
Your hand reaches deep into darkness and spiderwebs. Rummaging around, you find rusty rifles hidden away.
Are these any good?
Most of them are rusty and inoperable, like the rest, but one catches your eye. A bolt-action model with a fine wood stock, in better cosmetic order than the others.
That's a rare sight. seems to no longer be functional, but still a beautiful thing in its own way. It means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around in Martinez. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say. Might come.
Так, одежда, предметы. Хорошая винтовка. Но при этом цена, блин, 11 этих. И... Сколько у меня сейчас денег-то? Где у меня информация? У меня на кармане бабла. А, вот же. 5.37, да? Маловато, мне нужно 10. Нужно 10, чтобы точно купить 2 книги, которые мне там порекомендовали. Вот еще можно взаимодействовать. Тут по-любому денежка лежит. А, я же говорю. О, еще и магний, кстати. О, уже 7. 37. Глядишь, скоро и 10 рубликов-то накопим. Еще денежка. 45. Маловато будет. Понятно, мне не сюда. А погоди, мне интересно, что будет, если отключить какой-то из этих холодильников.
Two cables are plugged in an electric sizzle. The room is slightly quieter now. Something close to you dies with a soft electric purr.
Why did you do that?
The lieutenant raises his brows, but somewhere, a machine hums along with the current. Happy.
Я просто, все, да. Просто интересно было, что будет. Я удовлетворил свое любопытство, можем идти дальше. Половицы скрипят, но очень как бы интересное наблюдение. Еще появилось. Здравствуйте, дамочка.
Hello, I'm Nia.
Похожая на птичку женщина восседает на троне из инструментов, сквозь ее волосы появляется изумрудный свет.
Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my Milius. So what kind of dye are you looking for?
She's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the lynching.
Yes, Amelia is like a call-in station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these. Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I was so absorbed, I must have missed you knocking. Then how did you get inside? By the south entrance? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you're finally here. Let's talk dice. Did you have something specific in mind? I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need. That's why you're here, yes?
Role-playing games? You know the one made by Fortress Accident. Does that count?
Very good. My rate is 10 real per set, unless you want something really unusual. Take a look around and see if there's any particular stone you want to use.
It almost looks as if the stones and dice are a natural part of the room, growing out of the shells like stalagmites. No falsehoods are present. She's a novelty dice maker and doesn't have anything to hide. Ask what you need.
How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's an unfocused field with too much competition. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dice out of cobalt. That was my first order. I grew it from there. Not especially. I like working with rare materials and a steady pay. And role players as customers? They're nice people.
Some of those nice people have big bucks to spend on novelty items.
Nothing really. I didn't know him.
The lieutenant looks at his notebook, then the woman under the large window.
Your window looks directly onto the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear anything unusual last Sunday evening?
I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window. Well, there's always something going on in the Whirling's backyard. During daytime, there are usually those kids. And lately, I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Must be because of the strike.
Мне нравится, что все это время он светит ей фонариком в лицо.
She's heard of the murder, but did not see it, sire.
But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid. I might have, but in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness.
It's light here, but dark in the yard at night.
It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window when I'm in the zone. It's an odd profession, making dice for people, but I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home.
She nods.
Anything else, officer? We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know. But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home. Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here, so that's a plus.
Creative.
When she arrived here, there was no room anywhere else. She must have known the other businesses.
I've heard the stories, but I don't think those stories are true. Plaisance, the bookshop lady? I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energy spared her somehow?
Это презентация мудрая женщина. Использует фемининские талисманы.
Oh, right. But it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the whirling in rags? Some people say it's part of the building complex. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the east of the Commerce Central project. And then there is me. I've been here for 14 years, selling novelty dice to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million-real business idea, yet somehow I've survived despite the talk of malicious energies. Strange, isn't it?
Maybe it's just because she's so talented that she's been able to woo the curse.
Должен признаться, в так называемом проклятии действительно очень много исключений.
I was just about to ask, what do you think? Do you think the curse is real? Exactly. Truth is always so disappointingly mundane and boring. But I'm glad we got this sorted out. Anything else I can help you with today?
That's all she has to say on the subject. She's been thorough and truthful, as far as we can see.
More or less. Are you interested in anyone specific?
Oh, quite a lot of them spring to mind.
It wasn't merely a gym, it was Artemiteps Boxing Club, a community project created to steer at-risk youth away from drugs and crime. A kind man from Zemsk. I heard he had some trouble with the law when he was younger, and that's why he wanted to start the gym, as his way of giving back. It didn't. If anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started a rumor that the punching bag downstairs was full of amphetamines.
It's not really full of that. No one would store their drugs like that.
Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's gotten much more peaceful around the plaza ever since. Yes, I think it was called Androgynous Orlando or something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts. They're scared of that word.
A bit of experimenting every now and then isn't bad. It's not about the haircut, it's about the confidence.
Me neither. I just want it off my face.
Человек простой, вообще не думаю о прическах.
Oh, this one's a mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. What could go wrong with this one, right? Turns out, the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff milias. Who would have guessed?
What's the snuff milieu?
Причем меня энциклопедия спрашивает.
And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own. It's a sub-Rosa radio station that broadcasts real murders with real victims. Some people pay good money to get off on it.
Nothing changes in her tone as she says that, as if it's just another piece of information to lay out for the world.
Don't worry, the ICP has a separate division that deals exclusively with unlicensed sub-roses. This isn't our problem.
Good luck with that. It's not easy catching those perpetrators. You mean Mr. Fabron, the taxidermist? No, he mostly just did drugs.
Логично.
Anything else? There used to be a fashion atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years, until the insect rights activists came.
Даже не знал, что у насекомых есть какие-то права.
Yeah, the atelier didn't know it either. They produced a certain collection that used chitin among the materials. Apparently chitin is made in the Occident, where it's extracted from beetle wings. And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The activists shut down the biggest chitin supplier, which of course caused the price to skyrocket. And, naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in chitin from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection. Actually, insects do have brains, but yes, I understand what you're saying. I think the protesters took it a little too far.
As she shifts around, you notice several dead flies on the windowsill in front of her. Legs up.
Anything else? They were made by a company called Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to skis, their chief executive took off on a vacation with all their money. Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tulula or Tiumotiri or Hashtkor or wherever he is. Sure, it's illegal, but it's not exactly anything extraordinary in business. Besides, Slipstream is history now. All their remaining assets got seized by the bailiffs in 47. I have no idea why those skis and blades are still lying around.
They were just the props. Why return them? Maybe you could make a sword out of one. No, wait, forget it. It would take too long.
Fortress Accident, the radio game studio. They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once, I even saw two of them get into fisticuffs over Wirral.
That's understandable. Fantasies are serious things. The mind is the drawing board of history.
They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seemed to be chronically liberal with their schedules. The usual, they ran out of money and couldn't get the project done on time. Well, I did hear them talking at times. They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand quest.
She sounds almost mocking when she says that.
Yes, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged to keep out new businesses and so on. In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic, and to show up to work on time. Not the wisest decision. You would have lost all your savings.
The result is 1 on a 20-sided die.
Anything else? Oh boy, the fabled Revershow ICT. You're in for a treat here. The place was owned by two guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask me about their other ideas.
Я сейчас спрошу.
Indeed, what were the other ideas?
There was really just one, and it involved picking out the prettiest girls in the neighborhood and paying them 20 cents per hour to man the booth. And by man the booth, I mean slump behind the counter with a face that could maim you if you ever dared to disturb their bored magazine browsing. Oh, but they did. They did show up to work, and not alone. There were also acne-ridden girlfriends and gorilla-like boyfriends loitering near the ice cream stand. And they already had the bear. The bear. Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work too well either, and half the ice cream came out malformed and partially melted. Eventually, Ravishaw Ice City lost the price war to its rival, Glacé 5000. Glacé 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges. Maybe, because the taxidermist who made that bear definitely wasn't. Doing his best, I mean. He said that the bear was his vision beast. He said he met his vision beast while high on desiccants. Called it Megatherian.
Sounds cool.
Sounds cool.
Megatherian, a mega wild beast. It's an imaginary beast that guides you through life. By telling you to do more drugs, mostly. Understandable. You shouldn't do them. You're a police officer after all. Anyway, now you know the story of the fallen ice cream empire.
Little sparkling embers under the window.
Anything else? Another failed business? Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else?
3% шанс. Трепет. Почему я, понимаю, остался на плаву? Так, ну мы делаем быстрое сохранение. Трепет. У меня очков навыков свободных нету. Трепет я... Расскажите полизанции, что удалось узнать. Ну давай рискнем, ладно.
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking?
You feel nothing. If anything, it's uncomfortably warm in here.
Excuse me. What are you doing?
Officer!
No, I don't feel hot. We're in a derelict smokestack. If anything, then it's cold here. Oh no, not the zipper.
A tool to get the zipper open.
And why would you do that? And what technique is that?
Miss, I apologize.
Officer, this isn't how mature adults deal with their feelings.
Критический уровень боевого духа. Да все, я просто хотел посмотреть, к чему это приведет. Ни к чему хорошему. Ладно, валим отсюда. Надо грушу еще обследовать. Может быть, там действительно амфетамин. А грушу нельзя обследовать. Мы никогда не узнаем, были ли там амфетамины или нет.
You're alive and well. Don't keep me waiting now. What's in there? In that dark sarcophagus? Yes, yes? How was it?
Tell her how ghastly it was. You know it's what she wants to hear.
hotel? Did anything survive? Have you located the entity? A novelty dice maker? Well, spit it out. Why does she need the dice? For some kind of sorcery? Sometimes they use the ankle bones of sheep. I don't understand. If it's not her, then where is the source of the doom? How did she explain the curse?
The narrative she's built herself, it does need tearing down. She's squeezing on the pendant too tight. A drop of blood in her palm. To hell with it. Perchance you ought to just lie, sire.
Черт, быть может, мы должны...
Oh, how horrid! I knew something wasn't right about that place. Tell me, did you find a way to break the curse? Of course. I trust my Seminole's wards and charms kept you safe while you perform the ancient rites. All that matters is that the energies are retreating. I can already feel the curse lifting. It will be a long time until we're fully free of it, of course. But thank you, officer. Truly, you've brought a better psycho-emanation to this humble bookstore, and that's no small achievement.
She so badly wants this to be over. She would have believed anything.
All right then. All's well that ends well. Should we return to our ordinary...
Okay, but please, only a few questions. Yes, the Simonees are very crafty, and their wards are extremely...
The woman looks aloof.
Так, что у меня? Есть очко. Ну, можно, кстати, трепет прокачать и попробовать еще с ней поговорить. Но я хотел купить книжку. Малышку.
Shelves full of biographies of famous people, whoever they are.
A true cultural touchstone. Enjoy the read.
The Greatest Innocence by João Paulo Salomão Lopes de Fuego. The book is large and heavy. Browsing through the various chapters, you try your best to understand the ceaseless overflow, the sprawl of names, dates, places, events historical. Most of it ends up as a twisted mass of facts inside your brain. Your educational survey is done. Did you catch any of that? No. Oh well, it's pop quiz time. Let's see what you've learned. This might take a few minutes. That's the spirit. Here we go. Question 1. Who was the first innocence? Oh yeah, this is what I was made for. A pop quiz is a short examination designed to test your knowledge without any prior warning or announcement. Such exams allow the teacher to assess how thoroughly the students have retained the material at hand. Voila! Now blast that first innocence. Thanks for nothing. Dolores Day. Dolores. Incorrect. Dolores Day was the innocence of humanism, internationalism, and the welfare state. She codified parliamentary democracy and created modern institutions. Among these, the moral intern, she was powerful and beautiful on all her icons. Her colors are silver, white, and apricot. And when you think her name, Dolores, stomach acid rises to the back of your throat, and it hurts. You see a flash silver, a wreath, an airport bag, and blonde hair. You don't know why. Another choice, perhaps? Steer clear of this one. There's something terrible about this one. strange sensation of loss. When she left the earth, the dust, and the ice, and the humans. That is unimportant to the quiz. Stop thinking about this. Yes, the quiz is impersonal. No need to rouse sensations in yourself at the mention of Dolores Day. Incorrect. Solar resigned after. Correct. Nothing much is known about him. As the first question 2, easy. Everybody knows the answer to this. You, me, anybody. Correct. Named Franco Negro at question 3. Got it under control. No problem. Solid on this one. Correct. They have the most famous and important of these was Ernest Pasternak.
Погоди, кто
He
был первый
was into
следующий?
torture, despotism, hymns, cannons, and world conquest. But final stretch. You've come so far and learned. I've got it. Honest. Incorrect. While incorrect. Of course, this is my 0 doubts. Correct. Everything from congratulations on the C. You would have done better if you just left Dolores Day for the end. Dial the Dolores Day.
Тихо, тихо.
You're alive and well. Don't keep me waiting now. What's in there? In that dark sarcophagus? Oh. What about? Okay, but please, only...
The woman looks aloof.
А, это загрузилось сохранение с другого дня, да. Я и думаю, что-то я же прошел уже. Сейчас тогда, да. С ней еще раз поговорить. Ну ладно, поговорим.
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die? I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit.
You're alive and well. Don't keep me... Yes, yes.
Tell her how ghastly it was. You know it's what she wants to hear.
I knew it. But what else did you find? Did anything survive? No. A novelty dice maker? Well, spit it out. Why does she need I don't understand.
The narrative she's squeezing on the pen. To hell with it. Perchance you ought to just lie, sire.
Oh, how horrid. Tell me, did you find a way to break the curse? Of course. All that matters. Thank you, officer. Truly.
She so badly wants.
All right then. All's well that ends well.
Убери фонарь.
Shelves full of biography.
A true cultural touchstone. Enjoy the read.
The Greatest Innocence. By browsing through your educational survey that's the spirit. Oh yeah. This is what I was made for. Correct. Nothing much is known about him. It's not even clear that he was a he. But Franco Negro presumed as such and called him Pius. He's depicted as a young man with molten gold pouring out of his mouth. All he spoke was gold. It said he invented God and equality of men before God. He also introduced the gold standard as a way for measuring people's love for Aurum. As the first innocence, he declared that there should be more of those like him. It is presumed his disciples were the beginning of the Holy Party. The question 2. Who was the strongest innocent? Easy. Everybody knows the answer to this. You, me, anybody. Correct. Named the innocence of militarism. He codified hereditary
На
rule,
секунду забыл
but
вообще, какие там
at the
варианты.
same time ended serfdom and established the Inter-Isolari Real as the global reserve currency. He also established the concept of the nation. Franco Negro attempted to solve the rising tensions between the aristocracy and bourgeoisie by building a unified society in which every man has a place and a mission, but at the same time may rise to nobility provided on the strength of his virtue. Question 3. Who was the false innocence? Got it under control. No problem. Solid on this one. It's widespread historical information.
Блять, я забыл. Сука, я забыл. Я хочу на все правильно ответить. Мне нужно найти. Сейчас я стрим перемотаю. Нашел. Это
Correct.
Пастернак.
There have been a number of counter or false innocences, some assumed to have innocentic qualities, some who just thought so themselves. Occasionally, they have the support of a faction inside the ecclesiastic organization, and accusations of foul play have arisen. The most famous and important of these was Ernest Pasternak. He was into torture, despotism, hymns, cannons, and world conquest, but got defeated and humiliated by Stepan the Despicable of Kedra. Final stretch. You've come so far and learned so much. This is the most I've got it. Honest. Correct. The MESC might see Franco everything from Congratulations on finishing the test. The results and your subsequent grade have been calculated. An A. All correct. Impressive. Oddly so. You really navigated some treacherous waters here. Well done.
Huh? Take what? Uh-huh.
You are really just talking to yourself. It is quite silly.
А что мне это дало? Немножко опыта? Не, где-то еще какую-то книгу мне надо было купить.
This bookstore is not strict.
По-моему, детектив какой-то, да? Сколько он стоит?
Shelves filled to the brim with
7,99.
featuring the supposed
У меня нету столько деньжат. У меня даже когда я не купил ту книгу, у меня не было столько деньжат. Чё, девочка, как она вообще?
I'm sorry, sir. I can't talk right now. I'm very busy with my
out of the rain and into the gutter.
math. It's really difficult. Like, really. They say you need it to get rich. Better than standing outside in the cold, I guess. Oh, I found something while you were away. I thought this would fit you. Like, thanks for helping out. Not me. The city, I mean. Like a detective does. Just what Dick Mullen would ask. I got it from behind the curtains. I'm not really supposed to go there. Maybe. It's the hat Dick Mullen wears all the time. You'll look way more serious with that. Right, I have to get...
Ну, я бы не сказал, что он выглядит... Просто смотрите на это. Галстук этот убогий. И рукава желтые. Выглядит отвратительно. Одет как черт.
A small mountain of colorful board game boxes. There are numerous types of games for all ages. A lot of shelf space seems to be taken up by Wirral-related merchandise.
Wonderful board games, sir. The Viticulturist is a classic for sure. Or perhaps you'd like Archipelagos of Insulinda, a very educational game for those interested in geography. Browbritter is a fun game of economic competition. It can get quite intense after a while. We have games for the whole family. You can play with your children.
Смотрите на меня, кто мог захотеть от меня детей.
Don't be so hard on yourself, sir. You just need to clean up a bit. And technically, friends are a bit like family. For playing with friends, I'd recommend Suzerainty. It's a civilization building game where you build a civilization, then set off to brutally colonize and repress other civilizations. It'll cost 12 real. Lousy auras there. No, role-playing games are popular among those types. You know, who are into those kind of things. I've heard they turn people into occult enthusiasts. That they have rituals where they try to summon entities. Highly immoral stuff. You can still buy them, though.
An endless variety of source books, lore books, and codices litter the table. The topmost book is titled Welkin Compendium, 2nd edition. There's also a large hardbound tome with intricate cover art, The Hunters of Catawak, Boreal Creature Compendium, and a Pick Your Path adventure game book titled Tales of Wirral. Books in a board games section? There's a box that says Wirral, 3rd edition mega setting supplements module. The side panel notes a
25
fantastic
реалов. Да
adventure
где мне
board
столько
game,
денег-то
new
взять,
maps
сука?
and miniatures. A sticker on it displays 25 real.
А главное, нахрена мне все это покупать?
That price is steep, but then it's the 3rd edition mega setting supplement, so it makes...
Нет, мне он так это озвучил, как будто должно было меня окончательно убедить в покупке этой игры. Нет. Валим отсюда. Я хотя бы шляпу нашел. Так, ну попробуем еще раз. Вроде бы я себе прокачал эту... Что я должен был себе прокачать? Стойкость? Я не помню, что я должен был прокачать, чтобы меня от трупа не вывернуло.
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. As you breathe in, the odor comes over you. It's a spell of the mind telling you to run, and your stomach to wring itself empty. With your hands at your sides and your eyes squinting, you stand in it. It's a puzzle. What's hanging in front of you is a puzzle of decaying flesh, tattoos and tendons.
They do after 7 days, yes. We are deep in decomposition here.
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and enamel boots. His skin is greenish, marbled with decaying veins, and blotched by
То есть
lividity.
удивительно,
A
что он у них
fading web of
неделю
tattoos
провисел,
covers
и
his
всем
chest
было
and
насрать.
shoulders.
Просто как бы
The cargo
разлагающийся
belt
труп
used
наверняка
to fasten
воняет
him to the
знатно.
branch above appears industrial in strength. The material appears to be ceramic. Its clean white stands in stark contrast to the decaying flesh above the knee. The man wore thick polymer socks, probably for padding. A fine array of interlocking plates covers them. Delicate and fragile, they feel alien to the world around you, out of place somehow. These are clearly not boots. They're armor, possibly part of a larger set.
Indeed. Technically speaking, these are sabatons, not boots.
Oh, the lieutenant uses a memo technique A6. That's not just any notebook. It's a classic. It's clearly some manner of super armor or future armor. Super future armor. I'm useless.
От меня никакого толку.
Ceramic plate. Zirconium dioxide, most likely. This is where the make would be. Under the hill. Fair weather. Fair weather model T500VE. I'm guessing that's vitreous enamel. This is advanced stuff. The locals probably scavenged it. It would be odd if he had more on after 7 days. We should keep a lookout for these pieces. The armor could yield information. Maybe. No, he must have worn something precious underneath his clothes. They've removed all his clothes to get to it. They did not just strip him for the putrid rags. Someone could have cleaned the yard, but that's a question for the red hat thing.
I hear you talking shit about the Kuno. Come here and say it to Kuno's face.
Ну, иди
You
нахер.
wanna fuck me? You wanna fuck the Kuno?
Просто настолько заебал этот пацан. Слушай, иди нахуй, а.
They usually hang them completely naked for that. La puta madre, the Mazda, the Besmerties, and the like. This one still has his underpants.
What? Are you trying to ignore me now, fuckface?
Kuno, this boots shit is super boring and the guy's a total victopaz.
It is. It's expensive. We've requested similar material for our tactical units for years now. The constabularies deemed it too costly. In that time, we've lost 6 men to semi-automatics. For a full set, about 4 years of wages.
For the northwest region of Revachol, an officer's average yearly income is 5,500 real, unadjusted for rank.
Not too much, yes.
The lieutenant nods, wiping his finger on his sleeve.
That's for us to find out. Mr. Gart implied he was security personnel for the harbor company. This confirms my own assumptions. Just something I scraped together from my station. An area report on Martinez. I'm sure you did the same. I agree. This equipment is way beyond what a guard can afford.
A small bell-like sound fills the air, like tapping on the side of a porcelain cup.
It's anything but. This material is a kinetic redistributor. It spreads kinetic energy horizontally, from plate to plate, dissipating it entirely. See?
Faint, organic lines cover the plates where they separate into smaller ones. These plates then divide into smaller plates until
Я
there
понял.
are hundreds of them
Я понял.
altogether.
Я понял.
Like whirls of floorboards. The design looks organic, influenced by highly resistant wood materials, like lignum vitae and ebony. If trees were made of porcelain, this is what their cross-sections would look like. The smooth, glossy surface fractures into ever more intricate interconnections. The whorls are in the shape of a letter and number combination: E50, 100, 1000.
Good. Can you read it to me?
X5415 6745 678222. Let's lie.
Давай не
We
будем.
have a make and a number. That's something. We can use the radio in my kinema when we're done. Either station can chase it for us.
The stench fills your nostrils as you push down.
Stop! Pig's gonna pull his head off.
Brutal! What's wrong with you, asshole? Why is he letting go, Kuno?
I don't know, baby. I don't know why he's such a.
Officer, if I may ask, what were you trying to achieve by pulling on the deceased foot?
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt.
У меня
His
нет
torso
ответа на
covered
этот
in
вопрос.
tattoos and extremities blotched pink and blue. The hangman's knot is pulled tight by the weight of the corpse below. Yellow, hard-edged polyester cuts into his neck. Above, a sliding buckle ties the belt to the branch. This is a steel-reinforced cargo lashing belt, big brother of the regular cargo belt. It's used for tying cargo under 6-rotor airships.
Airlifting. I thought it was used on lorries for strapping cargo to them.
Судя по всему, это армированная версия для авиаперевозок. Об этом говорит мой мозг.
The local harbor uses 6 rotors to shuffle containers around. I get the sense they use whatever was on hand, without paying much attention to not incriminating themselves. The brief suggested as much, politically motivated by the ongoing strike. Did you not get a briefing?
Все мое прошлое подверглось тотальному уничтожению. Ничего не осталось. У меня нет ни матери, ни любви. Вся моя жизнь, точно никакого водного инструктажа. Какая ужасная, ужасная версия событий. Ничего не осталось.
Then you should ask me the first moment we get. I was afraid it would be. Thin steel wiring, parallel strands. This makes getting him down more problematic than I had assumed. A noose is one of those things that's easier to use one way around. That ladder can't carry a grown man. I didn't see any splintering either, did you? I think they lassoed the branch, then pulled on the belt to close the buckle.
Could be. The shape of the branch supports the theory. The cadaver hangs from the cargo belt. An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso, from the right shoulder to the solar plexus. Each time they intersect, a small white star is formed in their crossing. Hundreds.
A map of the stars. I do see some similarity to astronomical charts. Great century Messinian, maybe. But this seems more particular. Customized somehow.
As if someone left out most of the night sky, filtering it through personal choice. The principle of this filter remains unknown to you. The thought dissipates, and
So am I.
he wears a wide leather belt around his waist and a gun holster under his arm. He takes a thin piece of milled aluminium from his coat pocket and pulls it open. Sounds like a sword being unsheathed. A small lens appears, some sort of camera.
A Trigger Sunshine.
Triggered is the world's leading manufacturer of intercommunication devices, primarily projectors. The camera before you looks familiar somehow.
Shit, Kuno! What the fuck is that?
An instant color camera. I have only 2 ampoules, so nobody move. I don't want to waste one.
A sound, a shrill flash. followed by the breaking of a small ampoule of glass. You see streams of color pour onto the thick, glossy piece of paper, rolling out.
In case we need it. Yes, it is pretty cool, isn't it?
There is only one ampoule left. Use it wisely.
It contains insight to the victim's person. By his build, I'd say this was a man of physical violence. The story he wanted his body to tell was important to him. It is his letter, to us. Someone should decipher it. We'll need to show it around. Sure, just don't lose it.
The glassy-eyed corpse looks by, his mouth mute and his skin as his eyes are milky white and blind to the world, protruding comically from their sockets. There is no one home, just subaquatic terrors. Dark brown hair grows on his head. His face is ready to explode from the organic processes inside. The death's head grin has passed. What remains is an unrecognizable mess.
28% шанс.
The corpse looks right through you as you distance yourself from its stench, eyes like a shark. As you narrow your eyes, the monster before you blurs into a violent mess of green and pink. This is a trick. You've done it before. Pink is where the blood settled in the first hours post-mortem. You can use it to see if the corpse has been tampered with. Does his position at the time of death match the discoloration? Only the lower extremities are pink with a dash of blue. His fatted hands, thighs, and his neck, just above the noose. The rest of the corpse appears dark green in the cold spring air.
I see it. His neck too. The lividity goes right up his chin. We have good, well-pronounced discoloration here.
The monster comes back into focus, an explosion of color, coursing with dark marbled veins. His stomach appears pregnant with something. Black liquid streams down his thigh and onto his boot.
So, what do you think?
Я думаю, что он труп.
Agreed, especially on the neck. The belt acted like a tourniquet, keeping the blood in his head. The hypostasis supports a hanging. There's always a chance. We should check for ligament marks on his neck to see if they're in tune with the belt. We'll have to get him down first.
A pool of blood and feces has eaten into the frozen mud below the man's feet. Purge liquid is dripping.
The victim appears to have contained no more than half a kilogram of digestion at the time of death.
The fuck he's saying?
Talking about shit.
Да черт побери. Осуждаю.
Did we? I don't feel lucky. I do. Most of them are post-mortem. Maybe even all of them. The delinquents have made our jobs harder with their little sport.
Stop talking in riddles, coin slot.
It means you fucked him up good, Kuno. Fucked him up brutal like.
Интересно, как они узкоглазого на английском coin slot. То есть это типа прорезь для монеток. Интересно, как они вывернули это.
I agree.
His personality is no longer a part of the world.
Просто я подытожил все наше расследование. Он труп.
Totally dead.
Точно труп.
Absolutely.
Именно так. Согласен.
But there is no breath to catch. Only
Are you sure we finished the preliminary examination of the cadaver? We might miss some of these things once he's done.
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt, his torso covered in tattoos, and extremities blotched pink and blue. The man before you is naked, but
О, надо же.
Into the wild pale yonder. In the past, way out in the west. I'm a joke. Look at me. There is nothing funny about Joe, a killer, a motherfucker, and a killer. Go ahead. What do you mean? It's the power of your imagination. Go ahead. Ask me more questions. Because you're a copperoonie. Look at all of them go. Do you want more questions? Here you go, you loony. Fuck no. You're no Rooney. Between you and me, your name is probably Harry. You might be onto something there. Because you have. Do I remind you of someone?
a child born with Muller's disease, harlequinism, grown up miraculously.
You sure got out of that one, Coppellini. Come back later, Coppo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. Of course, come back later, Coppo. Amuse.
As you narrow, this is a trick. Only the lower extremities are pink with a dash.
I see it.
The monster.
So, what do you think?
But there is no breath to catch. His eyes dark brown. The corpse looks right through.
The steel-reinforced belt presents a unique challenge. I brought chain cutters, but I don't see a good angle of approach to the belt.
He doesn't actually think the challenge is unique. He thinks it's frustrating, annoying, and harder than he thought.
The cadaver is a good 1.2 meters up. Neither one of us can reach the belt without assistance. And even if we do, there's the question of cutting the airship strength material.
Слишком много возни. Давай не будем этого делать.
Someone else? You mean like the police? Someone like a paid garbage man? Or a cleaning crew? I have bad news for you. He's a detective. I know it's hard, but I assure you, the others won't come to help us. And we have a growing sanitary concern here. We need to get him down, fast. Climb up there and... there has to be a less risky way. With less falling down of trees.
Yeah! Bang bang time, pig! Shoot his head off!
How?
Where the buckle ties the rope to the branch. That's a good spot to aim.
Where? Ah, yes, I see. If the shot hits that, there might be a chance to release the belt.
Yeah, now we're talking. Entertain a Kuno with some shit.
They'll miss! The pigs will miss Kuno!
But what else can we do?
He breathes out.
Oh yeah, do this shit! Fuck it up!
The lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He appears too deep in concentration to even notice what you said. Silence. With his elbow sharp, the lieutenant unzips his jacket and produces a lightweight firearm. He drops a paper cartridge in the barrel, separates the scouring stick, and gives
Бумажный
the
патрон.
cartridge 5 tucks, securing it in place. That's a Kiel A9090 Armistice, mass-produced muzzleloader, ascetic, frugal, one of the most common firearms in the world. He then steps back and assumes the fellow's desk position, taking aim. The corner of his eye twitches. His finger is on the
Осторожно,
trigger.
напарник. Отстрели этого засранца. Промолчи.
The kid's voice is drowned in a shrill blast that echoes off the walls of the surrounding tenements. A cloud of smoke slowly parts in the air as the lieutenant steps back and says to himself,
God damn it.
a lot of things were wrong with that shot. The fellow's test was the wrong choice. His shoulders were raised, but the
Fucking idiot! Mookaba ass!
Kuno could have hit it easy, but then Kuno's not fucking handicapped, is he? Kuno's sorry too. Kuno feels sorry for the Beano clad.
The lieutenant doesn't say a word, just looks.
I have to say, it's beginning to look unlikely we can get him down with...
You know, you don't feel like too bad of a shot yourself.
It's bad as it is. Us shooting firearms like punks. Go ahead. I'm not stopping you. Just don't lose it.
They only have one gun!
This is the sorriest pair of pigs Kuno's ever seen.
Yeah, take it, you fucking banana boyka!
Блять, можно этих
Take
детей
it and shoot
застрелить?
yourself in the mouth.
The cold piece of bakelite and gunmetal is surprisingly light. Your fingers fit right through the guard.
Погоди, мне же
instinctively
подсказало,
resting
что я
on the
сделал
trigger.
неправильно. Что он сделал неправильно. В этом выстреле много было не так. Не стоило выбирать стойку Фалостеса. Задрал слишком высоко, но прежде всего его подвело зрение. Может быть, это поможет мне.
You've held this, an A9 Armistice, before. At some point, it probably used to be your choice of firearm. It still feels comfortable.
The fuck are you waiting for, Kuno? Tell him to shoot himself in the mouth!
The buckle comes into focus in your sights. You stand with your feet planted firmly in the ground and your left hand supporting your gun arm.
Why don't you just shoot yourself in your mouth? At least you won't miss.
Направь пистолет на Куна.
A plume of
Сука. Блядь, а квиксейв был насколько далеко? 8 минут назад? Блядь. Ну, блин, 42%. Ну, почему именно первый раз неудачный?
the man before you is naked, but the lips of the
Блядь, и
corpse
здесь
move.
теперь неудачно, сука! Да вы издеваетесь надо мной.
The man before you is naked, but
I'm gone in the park. I'm a joke. Look at me, a killer. Go ahead. What do you mean? It's the you man. Go ahead because you're a copperoonie. Look at all. Here you go. You fuck no. Between you and me, you can be anything you want because you do I remind.
a child born with Muller's disease, harlequinism, grown up.
There you go. Look at that bright kid. We're birds of a feather, you and I.
Feeling nausea, vomiting, tenderness or pain around the liver.
Come back later, Corporal.
Так, давай еще раз сохранимся, чтобы заново этот
The
диалог не
man before you
проворачивать.
is naked, but
The steel reinforced belt.
he doesn't actually.
The cadaver is a good 1.2 meters up. Neither one of us can reach someone else? You mean like the police? someone like a pit. I know it's hard, but I assure you, climb up there, there has to be a less risky way. With less falling down of trees.
Yeah!
How?
Where the buckle ties the rope to the...
Where?
Yeah! They'll miss! The pigs will miss, Kuno!
The lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He appears too deep in concentration to even notice what you said.
What else can we do?
He breathed.
То есть сразу выстрелить нам не получится.
Silence and produces a lightweight firearm. He drops a paper cartridge in the barrel, separates the scouring stick, and gives the cartridge 5 tucks, securing it. That's a key. He then steps back and assumes the fellow's stance position, taking aim. The corner of his eye twitches. His finger is on the trigger.
He's gonna fucking...
The chick's voice is drowned in a shrill blast that echoes.
God damn it.
A lot of things.
Kuno could have hit it easy, but then Kuno's not fucking handicapped, is he? Kuno...
The lieutenant doesn't.
I have to say,
You know, you don't feel like too bad of a shock yourself.
it's bad. Go ahead.
This is the...
Yeah, take it, you fucking banana!
The cold you've held.
The fuck are you waiting...
The buckle.
Why don't you just shoot yourself in your mouth? At least you won't miss.
The buckle explodes into tiny pieces, coming loose with a whir. With your hand numb from the recoil, you look at the body slump down. For a moment, the man appears to kneel in front of you, looking straight at you, helpless, trapped within itself.
Communism.
А поконкретнее можно?
It takes a millisecond for the association to flash within your cortex. You have no idea where it's coming from. Only that it's...
Чьими руками тебя убил коммунизм? Давай так.
Then the rigor in his muscles gives up, and he smashes sideways into the spring mud, letting out a horrid stench.
Ace is high.
The ace is high, a custom invented by the aerostatic brigades during the revolution, is used to celebrate success in Revachol, especially in sports. The jet you could add an ace's low to it, if you like, by turning your back after the high and waiting for another. The high arrives with a sharp slap. As you turn around, there is a moment of doubt. Feels like that low ain't gonna connect. Chill. It's gonna connect. But then it does, and with furious precision. The lieutenant is not one to leave an ace's low hanging.
I knew these guys were...
We will perform a field autopsy and determine the cause of death. But before... Excuse me.
Slumped on the ground like that has not improved the way the corpse smells. The fall seems to have released something deep inside it.
It looks like I feel like taking a break from the stench. I'm sorry to interrupt the jubilations here. Just a little breather before we do the autopsy. In the meantime, we should try to interview Evrard Clare, the leader of the Union. Harbor property was clearly used in the hanging. The harbor just east of here. Getting in might prove a challenge, though. Or we could ask around for the representative of the logistics company. My initial information says the Wild Pines have sent some sort of strike negotiator to wrangle control back from Evrard.
You could ask the gardener for directions.
Yes. And those were the interviewees. Let's go.
Ну, в принципе, прошло неплохо. Я так считаю. Да, пришлось абьюзить Quick Save, Quick Load, но... если есть такая возможность, почему я не могу ее абьюзить? Так. Так, какие... Ни хрена себе у меня тут этих... Это надолго. И чё он?
Fuck does Kuno care? Shitload pig. What's your question?
Don't tell the pig shit, Kuno.
This is where you quickly ask him questions. Real cop questions. Like a cop.
Fuck are you talking about? What is this contusion shit?
He says you're stupid, Kuno. They want to make you stupid again.
Куну и Куна.
Oh, did Kuno make your shit sniffing harder? Obstruction of shit sniffing? This is Kuno's kingdom. Kuno fucking rules here.
You hear the lieutenant hum.
Just a couple of pigs sniffing around in the dirt. That seems pretty.
Yeah, you tell the faggoty, Kuno.
Your test.
Get lost,
Kuno's Kuno pig?
It's always Kuno, never I. Clearly the kid's using the third-person perspective as a shield.
Kuno doesn't do that smart shit. Don't throw that bullshit at Kuno. Kuno knows you're lying. Trying to get Kuno hooked on the book.
Watch out, Kuno! He's trying to fiddle you! He's gonna put his hands on you! Help! Pig's got Kuno! Help! Rape!
Help! He's got the Kuno, help!
Everyone can hear. You need to get the hell out of here before.
Yeah? Get out of here before the Kuno beats the shit out of you.
Yeah, that's right. Drag your fat ass out of here, fat boy, before Kuno fucks you.
Я не хочу урон боевому духу получать. В смысле, блядь? Пошел он нахуй, этот Куна. У меня куча очков опыта, которые надо потратить, но я приберегу их.
This trash container is locked. The body is downwind from here. Maybe you prefer the smell of garbage to the smell of death.
We could try using a pry bar, the one you took from my motor carriage, or we could ask for a key from the manager of the Whirling in Rags. He probably has one.
He might also have information. This is better than the pry bar idea.
Ну пойдем тогда, ладно. О, сюда можно.
Real mature, man. What exactly were you trying to accomplish?
Damn, your feet thought we got away.
А я забыл, что я ему денег должен.
You know what? The stupid drinks you've had are on the house. You know why? Because I know you can't pay for them. Not because you ran away. Now, I still have to charge you for 3 nights and the broken window. That's 100 square. Don't thank me yet. You still owe me 100 real. If you don't have it by tonight, I can't let you up there. Now, what the hell did you want? I assume you... Mine? No, it belongs to the Whirling in Rags.
Thank you for clearing the debt. Why do you keep the container locked?
Why? To keep the hobos and drunks out. That's why. And the neighbors too. They put their trash there and they don't pay for the garbage company.
I thought as much. And are you the only party with access to the trash container?
Well, yes. Us and the garbage disposal company.
It seems a little callous, doesn't it? Something stirs in you. Prod at him and find out.
Callous? What are you? Kras Mazov? Almost all establishments in Revachol keep their trash locked. The Whirling in Rags is not special in that regard.
Krasmazov, nom de guerre, was an economist and a historical materialist. He was a leading figure on the Grad side of the Centennial Revolution, where he headed the 9-day government. Mazov is considered the father of scientific communism, Mazovian thought, or Mazovianism.
No one was implying you were, officer. Where were we?
Не, ну мало ли, он на всякий случай. Нам нужны ключи от бака.
What do you need them for?
В мусоре копаться. Очевидно же. Мы как раз похожи на бомжей. Будем копаться.
It concerns the case. Please cooperate.
Just bring them back once you're done, please. Absolutely out of the question.
Absolutely in the question. First we find a sad banger. Then we sing this place to shit. Your body is ready, sire. By the way, where is home? The address is coming up blank, and this place sure isn't it. But you've been at this hostel cafeteria for only 3 nights. Where were you before? You had to be somewhere. In time or space? That doesn't sound like somewhere you can stay if you run out of money. You can try. Run some addresses in your head when you get the time. Maybe a street or an apartment will appear.
О, мой второй башмак.
There they both are. Two identical shoes. Both copiously green and indiscriminately snakeskin.
То есть я все...
Reunited on your
Я забыл, что я все это время с одним
like
башмаком.
two baby crocodiles. Good, they're balanced, comfy. Feels like the only good thing about you right now, truth be told.
А, все, обе туфли на мне. Окей. Простите ущерб. Но самого важного я не нахожу, своего удостоверения и оружия. Для меня это важнее, чем туфля.
Kim also tries not to look at the pile of taped viscera on the carpet, or the weird suitcase on the hat rack, or the potted plant dying in the
Все
corner.
так омерзительно, сложно
But it's
привести
all
взгляд.
just too morbid to ignore. The man is finding it hard not to trip on the tape and not to send any of the bottles rolling across the floor. Where unidentifiable sludge makes it hard for him to breathe. Smells of vomit in here.
No problem, officer.
The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours. The sheets look awful.
The option to go to sleep becomes available every...
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face. The chain cutters slip out of your hand.
Сука. 50 или сколько там шанс был, и все равно я облажался. Но, блядь, это классно, что я могу сказать. Это максимально
A
эффективно.
mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, the faucet is quite terribly mangled, but you just might be able to twist its parts into place. You handle the chain cutters deftly, applying just enough pressure. The faucet regains a recognizable. Told you that you needed those chain cutters. Everything is connected. Everything has a purpose. The mirror begins to clear slowly without you having to wipe it.
Энциклопедия, слышать про группу ООО.
It belongs in the new, the third decade of the current century. Enough time had passed from the failure of the revolution that, for a fleeting moment, free market economy seemed like the ultimate, uncontested way of life. for our species. Things were good. It was smooth sailing. People made gold and champagne-tinted interiors and facades to suit the times, calling this the new style. But more importantly, disco happened. Forget about ostentatious orchestrations. For Revachol, your city, that meant only one thing. Guillaume le Million. If it doesn't rhyme, you're not pronouncing it right. Out of the dazzling swirl of disco music, in an open-air boîte de nuit somewhere in Revachol West, Guillaume's blonde mane appeared on the screen. He sang some bullshit. Then he made the expression. Everyone loved it. Maybe you thought some of the stardust would rub off on you. Maybe it did. Either way, it's all gone now. The click is used to spur on a horse. It also features heavily in Guillaume le Million's regional mega hit, Don't Worry, Your Pretty Little Head. Sometimes you like to add finger pistols to the mix, because, unlike Guillaume le Million, you are a police officer. It's your nifty little way to say, I'm armed and dangerous. There is a vast ocean of time between right now and the expression, looking good on you, or anyone. 2 decades, if the calendar is to be trusted. Humanity has run aground in that time. You have some understanding of the near history of disco, plus the trivia you've picked up along the way. Episodic, not really. OO must have just stirred your mind. They're more like a disco rock band anyway. It doesn't have to be. You can swoon over Guillaume and his champagne-corked smile whenever you want to. Maybe some of the stardust will return.
Знаешь, происхождение нет пары. А то, что нет пары, наоборот, плюс 2 дает. Так, сейчас, давай. Что там нужно? Электрохимии.
It's too late. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's too late.
Не, ну 18% это довольно много. Понятное дело, недостаточно много. Это как бы...
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's too late.
Но понятное дело, да, что шансов дает нам сильно меньше. Даже.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's too late. Like...
Вот абьюзить быструю загрузку, это, конечно, милое дело.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's too late.
Мне кажется, с 18% это я долго буду пробовать. Хотя бы 30%.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's too late.
Да, я думаю, что хотя бы 30%.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's too late.
О чем говорить, если даже там 95, ты все равно можешь как бы... Флэшбэк из XCOM.
It's too late. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's too late.
Да, 18% это очень мало. Я реально так долго был. Погоди, но было изначально 8. Стало 18. Что поменялось? Электрохимия. Отправляйтесь на планету тусовок. Вы любите наркотики, и это взаимно. Нет, наркотики не надо. Наркотики. Не надо нам наркотиков. Не надо. Не надо наркотиков. Ну зачем наркотики? Не надо.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's barely covered in steam anymore. It's your face in the mirror.
То есть оружие и удостоверение 100% здесь нигде нет.
Yes?
No response. He just arches his brow. He's having trouble processing it, believing it even.
Have you tried concentrating on something other than your personal affairs? Not a fan. It's just the nature of lieutenancy.
The RCM deploys a self-styled structure called the Decomptage as its chain of command. Every lieutenant is responsible for 2 sergeants and 8 officers. That means the average lieutenant has to deal with quite a few personal affairs. Even you know this.
Try work, the case at hand. It can work miracles. Fine. We should get through this day first. Off hours begin at 9 p.m. If you're still having trouble then, I can give you an orientation. Focus on other people's troubles, not your own. That is a relief.
A moment passes. The lieutenant glances at the sports watch on his wrist.
Так, рабочий день закончится в 9, да? Может быть, мы это... Еще раз с нашей этой соседкой поговорим.
The door is closed. There is no answer. You hear the shower being turned on somewhere inside. Still no answer. The door is still not. The lieutenant gives you a quick glance.
Хочу, чтобы он на меня так смотрел. Подозрительно. Просто она очень много информации мне дала. Я думаю, может быть, она и про оружие мое знает с удостоверением все-таки. Хотя бы намек какой-нибудь. Хотя бы намек. Там еще, кстати, новый какой-то персонаж появился в головке.
A thin man is smoking below an exhaust hood, occasionally sipping from his mug. This must be the Whirling's cook. As you step in, he nods toward the table and says something in a completely foreign language. The only words you can make out are Garancy and Kubek. Okay, it's definitely not his name. Whatever you do, please don't call him Garancy Kubek. Please. It's not funny. The man puts his cup down and replies something, his left hand drawing arcs in the air. He smiles and bangs his ladle against each of his pots in turn. It's almost like music, especially with the sounds of assorted dishes boiling and simmering on the stove. You see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimpled lock. It's painted blue. The cobalt blue surface feels rough to touch. The stainless steel door is flush with its frame on every side. Old cobalt paint, rough on the fingers. 40, 50 years since this was painted, maybe. It leads to a side building, adjacent to this one. The old building next to this, half ruined. Whatever is behind it must be older.
Я вернусь в дверь, попомни мое слово.
You do? It's a door in the back of the kitchen. Why do you care where it leads?
The winch. Outside. In the backyard. Remember? No? Your fingers do.
Well, if there was a winch, I suppose we could look into it. As a side investigation.
It's hardly a side investigation. You already have a name for it.
Gart is the person to ask about this. The cafeteria manager.
Ну, пойдем, пойдем. У меня все больше и больше появляется заданий, и я их крайне мало выполняю, а прибавляется их сильно больше, чем хотелось бы. Мне сразу Divinity
Can I help
вспоминается.
you? What thing? Yes, not the whole damn union, thank God. Just the nastiest and loudest faction. They come here in the evenings. Dumb, unruly types. Think they're big shit. But they're good customers. They place big orders and always pay on time.
We should find out who this Lord faction is, occupying the booth.
Еще одно задание,
Loudness
блядь.
means talkative. We don't. We have to wait. They'll show up sooner or later. Men get hungry, even men on strike.
You glance at the clock on the wall behind the manager. Huh.
Good question.
They're probably getting drunk or protesting something somewhere, or laying low after the, lynching. They probably fucking killed that guy or something, and that's why.
I have a feeling we'll make their acquaintance sooner or later.
Oh yes, that door, sure. There's nothing mysterious about it. It's just a door. No, I don't have a key. I don't know how to get there. And I don't care either. It's not like I've been wondering about it for 10 years. It's just a frit warehouse, probably. Or some boring storage space with a bunch of old junk and dust. Junk and dust.
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not convincing.
Fine, okay, a little. But my job doesn't leave me time for wondering about one locked door in one of the cafeterias I manage. So I haven't opened it. I have cleaned the whole place 100 times over, though, after the animals. And I haven't found a key, so good luck with that. What?
By the way, you should come back to this thing-based questionnaire if you see anything interesting in the whirling later.
Так, ну вот один пришел какой-то хер. Надо его допросить или застрелить. Это уж как получится.
That sugary black rum stain on the counter makes you teary-eyed with joy. It's almost touching how syrupy and sticky it is. How long have you been up already? An hour would have been bad. 2 hours is mystical. You have truly wiped out all
Да
trace
не,
of
я все это время
yourself
про бухло
if you
думал.
haven't thought about rum and lemonade yet. maybe you haven't turned out well for your drinking. Have you thought about that? Get a goddamn... What happened, man? You used to be cool. Go get your boring normal person drink then. Get your drink on and your act together.
Блядь, сколько заданий! Сколько заданий! Когда все это выполнять, блядь? Погоди, а с ней-то я так и не поговорил.
Hello, sweetie.
Wait, who's Sweetie?
Why, you are, officer.
Какой язык, взгляните
You're
на...
a handsome man, officer, with your mustache and your chiseled jaw and that silly dimple on your chin. You must forgive me. I'm getting so scatterbrained. I completely forgot to introduce myself. I'm Lena. My husband Morel and I are staying with our friend Gary just down the street, but I come here for tea when they're away.
This Lena is wacky enough for the Motley Crew. Hire her on the spot.
Вы, похоже, в кресле. Айда покатаемся.
Yes, officer. You look rather dazed. Like a stunned fox. But surely things can't be that bad. Oh my. You know where we are, right? That's right. And where is the Whirling in Rags cafeteria?
Уже не так уверенно. В Ревашоле?
Yes, indeed. We are in the fine city of Revachol. Yes, and Revachol? The new disco dancing. It seems like a lifetime ago. Much has changed, but it is still the most beautiful city in the world. A rare jewel set in the sand between the pines. Everyone says so, even foreigners. Speaking of history, you know what year it is, yes? That's right, dear. How splendid. Here, take this pen. Knowledge should always be rewarded.
Ручка с доброй зеленой обезьянкой.
Her relief is palpable. She was getting pretty worried about you there, but now she relaxes her shoulders.
I can
Ну
tell
это
that
потому,
this
что
is
календарь
taxing for
висит
you,
в
so I'll
коридоре
just
около
ask
моего
one more
номера.
question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government?
Хочется верить, что диктатура пролетариата, но что-то подсказывает, что это не так. Наши правители — грозные воины, мчащие по прерии на гордых жеребцах. Цивилизация трепещет перед нами. Нами управляют разумные машины. Они подсчитывают, как получить самый свободный рынок, все обстрапывают дела и пашут, как не в себя. Наше восприятие реальности искажает, и нашим разумом управляют при помощи радио. Это нужно, чтобы наш истинный правитель иностранцев и женщин. Полицейская. Привет, копы.
Nope, sadly not. Revachol is what's called a zone of control, under an alliance of foreign powers called the Coalition. We have no government of our own, and what democracy we have is market-driven.
Meaning, buying is voting.
Oh dear. And you were doing so well. There aren't any cops in Revachol, not in the traditional sense. The status of law enforcement has been a complicated matter since the revolution. But we should stop for today, sweetie. You look like you need a break. Besides, I'm not the best person to explain the big things to anyone.
She's scared now. She's realized you really are brain damaged.
You were doing quite well up until the end there.
It does look like you're having trouble remembering things. History and places. Remembering reality in a word. It's very odd.
A sigh. The lieutenant buries his nose in his notebook.
But maybe a fresh set of eyes is what the world needs. And while I'm no doctor, such bouts of amnesia are often temporary, so I wouldn't worry too much. A defeat, I'm afraid. The people of this archipelago tried to build something new, something different. The rest of the world didn't like it, so they came and ended it. This was 42 years ago. It has something to do with everything. I really don't know how to explain it better. Someone more educated in sweeping matters. Maybe you should ask.
No, I'm not an encyclopedia. I won't be a guide either. I'm a detective.
Of course. Then I don't know. Someone rich, maybe? Wealthy people are educated.
Еще одно
Though
задание.
I don't know where you would find a wealthy person in Martinez.
That's a good point. This doesn't look like Rich Central.
Зайки должны денежки. Зайкам дают денежки.
Of course, dear. Good luck with your case.
Так, что она дала нам? Чка с доброй зеленой обезьяной. Не выглядит как добрая, но она и правда зеленая. Знаете, всю правду о реальности. То есть, серьезно, мне нужно вот этим заниматься, узнать всю правду о реальности. Ну охереть теперь. Серьезно? Это уже вторая мусорка, которую он, подходя, говорит, что был бы пакет, я бы пошел и сдал бутылки. Может быть, мы все-таки реально бомж, а не коп? Я теперь могу собрать бутылки.
This coin-operated viewer is facing south. The instruction manual says to insert 25 centimes and pull the handle while looking inside. Then use the focus knob to zoom in if necessary. Why place a tourist attraction in the middle of such poverty?
There was a revitalization project in 49. A design studio tried restoring Martinez to its pre-war glory. It didn't stick. They got as far as the street lamps and the statue on that intersection. Then something went sour. I suspect that something was Everard Clare, the union leader. He muscled them out. It's how it
Класс,
usually
люблю
goes.
организованную преступность. Она самая лучшая.
We should have done something about the union 10 years ago. That ship has sailed, officer.
Ну, раз такое дело, будем собирать бутылочки.
This Post Lavantorie mail collection box has been heavily vandalized with graffito. A closer inspection reveals 2 bullet holes in the front. A faint sticker on the side reads, RCM Emergencies Desk number 8102.
Хороший
with a
ящичек.
slogan, Mankind
Нахуй пошел
be
ящик.
vigilant. The The box seems happy.
Ящиков клита.
Eat shit pig, fucked by the coon, and St. G with a crown have been scribbled on it. Jenny is a whore, and best set mailbox also. The mail collection box seems cathartic, thankful even. So do you. You shudder, then you swallow.
А сколько бутылок у меня влезет в пакет? Ну это как бы все классно, но... А куда их сдавать? Допустим, сейчас я соберу бутылки, я пойду, например, к себе в номер, потому что у меня там дохуя бутылок валяется. Но куда их сдавать? Очевидно, что за это я получу деньги. А мне нужно много денег, с учетом того, что я 100 только должен этому за номер. Так. Где тут у нас еще бутылочки? Какие-то являются частью текстуры, я вообще ничего с ними сделать не могу.
The window stands broken in its frame. Cold wind blows in. The window stands
Ну я же его
broken in its
чем-то
frame.
разбил, может быть я пистолет
Cold
туда
wind
выкинул.
blows in. The shards face outward. Whatever broke this window came from the inside. A fine web of scarring covers the back of your right hand, but none of it is recent. More likely a projectile than a held object. There are no fragments on the floor from pulling a tool back in after impact.
А, не, ботинок. На балконе ботинок валяется.
Something you've done before. It is too large for a bullet, yet too small for a piece of furniture. The shoe you found on the balcony fits the hole almost as well as your foot. It would have also been heavy enough, if thrown with force.
Ну да, но судя по... Он буквально прям вот сразу же за окном валяется. Если с такой силой я его бросил, он бы улетел за балкон. Он бы не упал на балкон.
Congratulations. You smashed the window with your own shoe. Pretty much. But hey, at least you found your shoe. Not that it will keep you warm at night. Brr.
Так, надо найти, куда сдать бутылки, потому что мне нужно еще книжку купить. Хотя не знаю, нахуй мне она нужна. Я вон одну купил, а толку от этого всего никакого. Наверное, какой-то автомат должен быть. Да, осталось найти, куда их сдать, эти бутылки. Что это у нас за вывеска? Ломбард Роя. Быстрее деньги, скоротечные времена.
G'day to you, officers.
A burly man hangs out by the waterlock, carving up a generous serving of salami with an old hunter's knife. His eyes are fixed on a man stranded on the other side of the waterlock and on an enormous billboard that has fallen down into the canal between them.
My friend Barry the Butcher is stuck on the other side of the waterlock. I'm keeping him company and eating his salami.
From the corner of your eye, you see a man in a yellow shirt and grey overalls waving at you.
Вообще расстроенный за половину шлюза из-за
He
салями.
seems disappointed about the wreckage on the waterlock and the salami.
Very good stuff. Anything I can do for you, officer? I wasn't here to witness it, but those look like tire tracks on that sign. Weird, huh? Then again, plenty of daredevil drivers in Revachol. Too bad it also takes a year and a day to repair anything around here, especially a waterlock. The rest of the coast is closed off till then. Well, there's the fishing village, an abandoned fish market, a bizarro church. Not much use to the congregation, though. There always seems to be something wrong with it. Yeah, not really much else. Just bombed out ruins. Sure thing.
It is salty, it is savory, it is chewy. The hangover only makes the salami more tasty.
Want some too, officer?
Why not?
Решительно кивает лейтенант, но не задумайся, он просто потянут кусочек салями. Ну вот, пообщались с мужичком, он нас угостил салями. День прошел не зря.
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is a lever. Beneath it, a small metal plaque. This panel usually closes the waterlock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed salmon and butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever probably won't do anything. You pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the contact pins. You hear a soft clunk. Then nothing happens. The spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the waterlock to get across. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning?
Еще одно задание, да господи боже мой, ты полицейский, хер ли ты этим-то занимаешься?
Yes?
Я хотел зайти в ломбард, а не с тобой поговорить. Ух ты ж.
Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb. Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, Heimdall burning. The antlers on the hood of the man's cloak and his piercing blue eyes are familiar.
It's the man from Heimdall.
Walking away from his burning village, yes. The man from Heimdall is the hero of a series of popular books based on a fictional version of Kotler, mostly what is nowadays Arda NFD. In fact, Most people don't think that man from Helmdale ever really existed. But they are wrong.
Helmdale isn't a real place.
Neither is the man a real man, of course. But both the man and Helmdale are an ontological necessity. But hey, it's not...
Wow. What?
I mean, even if the man from Helmdale didn't exist...
Okay.
You sound skeptical. Besides, I've been to Kotla. Though not quite as far...
It's for the best, because Helmdale is his theory isn't exactly...
2 real.
That's dirt cheap.
You should.
Грубая сила, трепет, но -2 авторитет.
A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps. The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone and attached to a standard indoor plug. The light buzzes faintly, but persistently. This would make quite a statement in your living room.
А у меня есть гостиная?
Yes, officer. As you see, it's in perfect working order.
His manner is casual, but his speech is careful, measured. He wants you to know that he has nothing to hide.
It was brought to me to be altered.
We are not here to investigate the theft of city property. You have to admit it's rather clever what he's done with it.
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks, the kind that would mow down a line of enemy soldiers in the blink of an eye.
I used to be very serious about my Franco-Nigerian nights.
They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps, complemented by orange trousers. They are variously posed, wielding swords and rifles with bayonets.
Which ones? Ah, those. Yes, they are. I find the paint job a bit gaudy, but children like the bright colours indiscriminately.
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive. A few have rifles, but most of them carry pistols. Some even...
You're probably talking about the I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win. I don't like either set very much, to be honest.
It's clear you like the hard stuff, Rota. Evening falls. The time has come to take the vow. The vows are blood and flesh. Lower intestine. The term is metabolic and circulatory fascism, Rota. Many things, but it's mostly about trusting your gut. Who does your gut tell you is the source of Revachon's problems? Yes, them, but also women. Women, men of war. You don't like them. That's what fascism boils down to. Stomach truth. You're having a stomach truth. Because you've said the hard things that others won't say. The good things, you've said them many times. Okay, yes, let's call it that. That sounds much better. Traditionalism. You like the sound of that. You're going to keep your views, right? Keep your views, Brota. There's a slow, painful growl somewhere in your intestines. No, it is one of betrayal and disappointment. You see rows of toy soldiers guard everything you pick
Да ёб твою мать!
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets.
80, сука, 3%. И все равно он облажался. Я думаю, да... Смысл сохраняться, он все равно это... Ой, блядь. Все равно там столько вероятность, что проканает. Нет, блядь, не проканало. Заебись. Ладно. Там слишком много диалогов. Я не хочу, мне лень. Ой. В следующий раз тогда. В принципе, и в первый раз я тоже так же закончил. Облажался, и потом лень было переигрывать. Ладно. Хватит с меня на сегодня. Давайте тогда. До связи. Не болейте. Пока.